And welcome everyone to a special edition of Kollective Konversations, our roundtable series where we bring together community voices to share business insights and discuss real world challenges. I'm Chad Arthur and I'm a proud part of the Summit Kollective. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe to the Summit Kollective on social media. Today we're going to delve into the heart of what the Summit Kollective is really all about. We are a community-driven organization dedicated to strengthening families, empowering youth, and creating sustainable pathways for learning and growth. We operate as a collaborative network of initiatives designed to meet real community needs: literacy, prevention, food security, and open dialogue, all working together to build stronger, healthier communities. Every program reflects our belief that change happens when education, access, and connection come together. Through partnership with schools, local businesses, faith-based organizations, and residents, the Summit Kollective continues to serve as a hub of collaboration, innovation, and hope. So one area of that we've really been concentrating on is
the learning.
real
quick. So when we started, when we kind of revamped the Summit Kollective, we kind of had a group of people. We came together, talked about a lot of different things, a lot of different programs that we had. Through there, these programs that we're getting ready to put out, and some of them are intertwined in with what we're doing now as well. But we kind of went away from some of them and actually put them in other entities. A couple of those were the Vine. The Vine was actually kind of originated in the Summit Kollective, which is a walk with faith, walk with Jesus. But what we've done is, like I said before, we've taken it and then, I've actually taken it and put it on its own. So it's a ministry of its own, so it's not under the Summit anymore. And also the Root, which is originated, by St. Luke Apostolic Church, which is Elder Michael McCray and Deborah McCray. So that's one of the things that they're doing now as well. So we'll still continue to do those two things, but they were under the umbrella of the Summit, but they're not anymore. And we're focusing more, like I said before, on children, teens, and adults. That's what we're focusing on a lot now. So one of the first things that we're talking about today is we're going over all the sections that we do now, the different type of, definitely help we provide. And the first one is called TSK Learns. And this will be on the website as well, and we'll actually post it on Facebook as well. It's kind of showing the different types of things we have going. So the first one we're going to talk about is TSK Learns.
And I'll outline that a little bit here today. One of the main things that we hope to address and are addressing through TSK Learns is our literacy promotion, and that's a passion project of mine. And we all know that reading is important, but I think that we have a major problem, and the statistics show that if someone struggles to read in writing in any way, they're not only does it make all aspects of their education more difficult, but it comes with a stigma and a feeling of shame. And so if early on we're not able to intervene with readers that struggle, they will naturally shy away, and by doing so they'll have more trouble catching back up. So what we want to do, and we've got several programs to address it, is really important for us to take the shame out of reading. It's more that reading more than just a skill. It's about dignity, and if we can take the stigma out, the shame out, then I feel like youth, and it doesn't have to be youth, older people as well it's never too late to improve on your literacy, and I really do. I think it'll impact every function, just civil functions, financial functions, managing households, obviously on the job. One of the programs that I was speaking about is our Lit Lab Go. That's something that we've been developing and improving upon, and it's a hands-on literacy experience where we actually take our tools and our program to students and meet them where they're at. I feel like a big an important factor in drawing in students is that I want to stress is all our programs are geared for people at different levels. There's always room to improve when you're reading. So whether it's someone that struggles to read at all, or someone that just wants to improve on their reading and their reading comprehension, our programs are designed to meet you where you're at, and it's you and the program. It's totally about self-improvement. It's not about being put on the spot and having to deal with the shame. It's just to me, when you try to improve yourself, that's what cancels out any shame. We also have a program we call the Next Chapter, which is kind of the next step in literacy. And with the Next Chapter, one key part I really like about that is we integrate an app called the Learning Upgrade app, and we offer free subscriptions, and it's totally between you and the app. Doesn't matter what level you're on, you plug into the app, based on the skill level you're at, it anonymously works to improve your literacy skills. And with that app, there are also, there are over 1,000 lessons in learning, not just about literacy. But that gives you, and with the Next Chapter, we also try to, the goal is to try to blend in, to bring in readers who are maybe at an early level, and we will see them succeed, and now you have mentors for the next generation of early readers. And I just feel like it's really a program that can build momentum and change lives.
The Lit Lab Go is the one that we have. Is the app that we use for that is iExcel. So it's for middle school and under. 12th graders, 12th, 11th, 10th graders can use as well, 9th can use as well, but usually, from what we've saw, a lot of Lit Lab Go, a lot of iExcel users are kind of younger. That's why we bought in the Next Chapter, which is the learning upgrade, because it's, like I said, it's for older young adults, and it's also for people with IEPs. So if you have an IEP, it helps with that as well. It's also used for people who are trying to learn English as a second language as well. So that's a good thing too. So it has math on it as well. It doesn't only have reading on it. And of course, Lit Lab, we have a couple of different ones. We have Lit Lab Go. We have one for all subjects, but we don't have as many subscriptions for that as we do for the literacy, which we do have a lot for that section in iExcel. So those are just a couple things that we're definitely talking about. There's one more part of TSK Learns, and that's Evaluate You, and that's the original one. Raina can talk a little bit about it, but that's about life skills. We're teaching life skills as well.
Well, I'll tell you one thing on your Lit Go that's really good is that normally from where I'm coming from working, when students are in high school, maybe they can't use it, maybe it is geared to younger students, but normally when you're struggling on the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, it's because you missed something in the 6th or 7th grade. Because we talked about like math, especially or reading. Right. If you don't know your sight words, it's hard for you to pick that sight word out of a word to do that. So having a student anonymously, like you said, be able to go back and see what they missed without that exposure to shame or is really excellent because when you get to college, if you don't have that, it shows up more and more.
Right.
That skill shows up more and more when you have to be a little more independent. So I also think with that Lit Lab, next generation, you're also causing them to start getting a sense of self-advocacy and like independence at an earlier age, especially about your education, because that is the one thing in life that when you educate yourself, that is solely yours.
Right.
Like you get a BA or MA or whatever behind your name, it's yours. It's not anybody else's. Somebody might help you in your journey, but 90% of the journey is your journey. So, but I will say we worked on the summer program that we had with
Right.
learning.
Camp Elevate.
Camp Elevate, and I came in as a volunteer and helped, but it was amazing to have, I mean, we ranged on a day from anywhere to 10 to 25 kids
Right.
who came in and worked on learning letters, IXL, math, reading, spelling, but in a fun manner, like even STEM programs, like I think we did science projects, they learned about electricity, but in a manner where kids that have learning disabilities, which is we're at the Division of Rehab, where we're working with people that have disabilities, it's a non-traditional learning environment. So kids are able to move around and having different tables like, okay, you have to do this part, but here's 3 options. We're going to do all 3. Where do you want to start?
Right.
So giving them an option of like, hey, you're going to paint and we're going to learn about this color wheel, but you still got to do that math and science. And I noticed that with some learning styles, these kids would choose to do the hardest thing first to get it out of the way, to come back and do what's fun. But also as a volunteer or someone in this community who really cares about the next generation behind me, so I can retire, like, it's making sure that you can read, you can write, and that learning can be fun, and it's not always, there are going to be sections that are demanding, but it can be fun as well.
That's what I learned. That's what I learned about, but I didn't even know about IXL to Camp Elevate, and I'm like, because we have, a lab over there in the other office. I'm like, what are they doing? And they were playing with it, but then I thought they were playing games, because there's games on there, but they were actually doing IXL.
Yeah.
And they liked it. I mean,
Yeah.
so it was like one of those things, well, wow, they can do it, I mean, I think, I just don't, I guess, because that's what we're doing, kind of recapping a little bit also. We've kind of rolled out Lit Lab Go. It went well, and it still is, but like I said before, we got to get it out more. I got a couple of days to talk about, but one of the things is when school comes in, I think it's a big load on them then, and maybe they,
Well, I think in school, it's an assignment.
Right.
Here,
right,
it's fun.
Right.
Like, I'll tell you, Chad and I had our favorite little dude who would do schoolwork for Cheetos. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if Cheetos makes you do schoolwork, then I'm gonna buy Cheetos, but also I watched that same young man who the first week he struggled with some behavior issues, but when it came to that IXL time, he went from 1 + 1 to 7 + 12.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, and then he's like, well, I want to learn what they're doing because they're multiplying, and he don't know anything about that. But we were able to get through the ones, 1 times 1, 1 times 2, for a first grader who never even knew what that was before he stepped in the door. But IXL and bingo convinced you, and some Cheetos convinced you that, this could be a good program. And when it was over, he was sad because learning became fun.
Yeah,
It became,
so
but also it became fundamental.
Right.
The same concept. So if we can figure out how we do that as a community, because every last one of us at this table, every last person that watches, you have even though sometimes we don't feel like that, we have a responsibility to make sure that you can retire, that you can do that. I don't want somebody, when I go to be a pharmacy tech, there's somebody, I go to pick up my prescription, and they can't count to 10 or count to 30, and they give me 10 versus 30, you're going to be mad, but you're only mad because that person's fundamental educational resource wasn't met.
Right. I mean, and I think, even us having, this round table today about these programs, this is where it's needed at. I know we try to, we were just, doing a tour of trunk or treats and stuff like that, and that's all good and all, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's great to give out candy, but this is what we want to help with these things. So, I mean, and I know it's like I said before, I mean, it takes, money, it takes subscriptions cost money, different things like that. So what we came up with is we came up with a release information. The information is just more or less, not your name, we have to submit, but definitely that we have people that are enrolled in these things that we're doing, Lit Lab Go, and IXL, and Next Chapter, which is definitely a learning upgrade. So just one of those things. So don't be, if you've been, I understand if you're leery about those things. The only thing that we're giving is numbers, not people's names. We're just giving numbers of what, they're participating and things like that, and that's all they want as well. And then we can get more subscriptions and keep on going. But, make no mistake about it, just because it's not going as fast as, I would think now, it doesn't mean it won't. It means we just have to be here and be steady and be constant. It's one of those things. So, and then we're going to move on to the next one, but pathways. But the thing I have to say about Lit Lab Go and Next Chapter, we're having on 2 dates. We're having 11/15. That's November the 15th. That's a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, and also the next following Saturday, which is 11/22, 10 to 12 here at the office. We're going to have a Lit Lab Go and the Next Chapter, so we'll split them up. It's basically what we're going to do. They can sign up. They can come sign up. Like I said, we'll have subscriptions ready for them then. Also, and then, like I said, the subscription I'm talking about, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your laptop, you can do it on your iPad. So different things you can do it on at home. Not only that, you can also have, like if you have siblings, same thing.
Yeah.
Sign them up as well. Like I said before, they can have their own, thing, because, they don't want, even the mix of it. So, it's enough. We have enough right now, and we're really looking to, like I said, push this. Also other places as well. So it's mobile. That's why it's called Go. Lit Lab Go. It's mobile as well. So we'll be, asking around, coming to some different areas, even here in Beckley and Raleigh County, but also if it had need to be anywhere, we can go, around states, around the state and try to set this up as well. And then, help with that. But with that being said, the next thing that we kind of, really thought about, and this is, like I said, what's in front of us, right? And it's, there's still, a drug epidemic out here now, all right? Or at least the ramifications of it, should I say. So now we have that. So, but really, in order to get the next generation from, stepping into what our generation, kind of went into, we actually was thought about some prevention parts. And, state of West Virginia was definitely hit very hard by opioid abuse. And so now they actually, put monies out to try to help with those things. With us being, working with youth, we all decided, why not, definitely put in for some programs. Because, I have a history, as far as, working with substance abuse, people with substance abuse issues. Raina does too as well. Her more than me, but, I definitely have it. I've been working with kids and families for over 25 years, so I've seen it on both sides. I even dealt with it myself as far as different things. So, Raina, she'll kind of go over those things as well.
Okay, so PFK Pathways, when Dawn came and said, hey, I think the Summit Kollective is going to put in a grant to see how we can help evoke some change. I love that idea, because I don't think you change anything without empowerment and education. You don't change it. It doesn't, you can say it, you can throw it out there, but when I walk down the street in Beckley, and I do walk around in my office, I see the opiate effect every single day. Every single day. And that's not even just me. I'm one person seeing it. But we've got people standing on corners. We have people, and they're getting younger standing on a corner. How do we change that generation? Empower and educate. So his agency was given a grant. He asked me if I would help to kind of talk and do things, which I'm all about that. Like, I just want to have. So what we want to do is start with some youth ambassadors. Kids who've experienced it, whose families are coming from that background, to try to change the generational curse and maybe fill in the gaps of what they don't know with some education, some evidence-based things. We're going to do some workshops, get kids in here, talk about it, and let them know, hey, this is private. This is somebody's story. But also asking the question, because there is no dumb question, to put them in a space where you're safe. But also educating students to go out and share the information. Because I can say it, but I'm 49 years old. When you are sitting in 10th grade and there's some kid, and maybe it'll change the way that some of these children treat each other, is if you can understand that maybe that kid didn't sleep last night because their life is taken over by the drug epidemic. Maybe that's why they're acting out. Maybe it's that, and be able to give somebody a little grace. So this program, community encouragement, community engagement, I'm gonna be reaching out to a lot of people in this community who are already in this field and working and saying, hey, this is great for adults. Let's talk to their kids so that maybe they don't turn into their parents or their uncle, aunt, cousin, whatever. Like, we've seen enough bad, let's spread some good. So if we can figure that out, to get it in a place where our kids can feel comfortable about making positive, drug-free life choices. We have these programs, they're here. But I can tell you right now, I worked 10 years as a methadone clinic. I'm telling you, sometimes it was, this is the crazy I know, versus nobody ever said anything different.
Right.
So maybe we can be the voice that says something different. Like, and plus, I work at the Division of Rehab. This is a good place to say, hey, I work here. There is something outside of here. There is a way. And maybe even taking that information that they learn home to their parents and say, you know, there is another way. You don't have to do this.
Right.
And then even that, if you look at how that works, here we are, TSK Pathways, you have learning. Some of those parents may need that learning in an anonymous way in order to be able to build their lives or rebuild their lives. So, like I said, these are going to be evidence-based workshops. Our first one is going to be 11/25 here at the Summit Kollective office. We're going to have students here, we'll get some ambassadors in here, start training kids about sometimes it's hard to even say no. Our first program is going to be like, how do I say no? Because no feels like it's the smallest word, but it has the biggest impact, and it's hard to say. We all know adults that can't say no. So, like, that's what our first message is going to be. How do I say no in a way that doesn't impede me or cause me more problems, especially when it comes to a drug-free lifestyle? And when I say drugs, I'm talking to teachers, and they're saying vaping. We're going to talk about vaping, too. Vaping, like smoking, marijuana, and the harder things. You're like, how do we prevent it? How do I say no? When do I speak out about it? But starting the conversation there, but getting around the circle and asking students what they want to talk about. So we make sure that this not only benefits their life, but it's part of their toolkit. So they can put it in their toolkit, because your life doesn't stop in 10th, 11th, 12th grade. It's going to be college, training, further. So.
And it's when you say that, I was thinking about learning. Because, we're going to try to teach them, right, through pathways, but it's like they're learning already.
Right.
But sometimes they're learning in a negative way because, it's becoming like something when they hear it, I'm going to say it, but when you hear music and things like that, when they glamorize the fact of drug use and things like that, right, it's one of those things you'd be like, well, what is this about, and it's just mind-blowing to know that all of definitely what they talk about in a song, but if I'm listening to it every day, it's normal to me, but it's not normal, you know what I mean? I always would, even when I was in counseling, it was a song. I'm not gonna say the song, but it was a very, very famous guy who sung this song about just something that he loved it, right? That's all I'll put, right? But that was about cocaine, and it was a #1 song in America back. This is about 10 years ago now, but I'm like, how can that be? And then I remember hearing it when I was going to the elementary games. They was playing it like yesterday. I'm like, and they don't even know that. Mm-hmm. And so, and you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, it's like, so we have to teach them this way. And teach them to combat those things because it's not normal. And then you don't want it to be. I understand what you said about this crazy, but that's not normal. No, we don't want it. But if you can kind of identify that, then we can maybe steer away from that. And like you said, even get the parents to steer away from it some.
Because I noticed even when we had the younger kids here, parents are dropping off their kids, but you've watched the change because it's consistent. So we did a thing last school year, and I started with 5 girls just to see how it would work. Just because I'm used to one-on-one, let's get back into this group concept. And we started with something as simple as journaling. And I know that sounds like, who wants to write? But here's literacy, here's my sobriety, which should be important to me, and everything else. So we're going to take all these things, and I want you to write it down, and this is your book, and this is your safe space to leave in. And having a safe space where I can come every week, or we got to a point where they want to come 2 times a week, 3 times a week. They're like, I'll come every day. And I was like, well, I can't do every day.
That's an interesting point, because there are tons of stats that show that if you can get a young student, even that struggles to read, if you can get them engaged in writing, no matter how the quality, it'll improve reading so much. And I think is almost equally as important, it promotes a love of reading. If if you're bad at something and you're totally, you're constantly pointed out to you that you're bad one way or another, you're going to shy away from it.
Right,
You're going to hate it.
Absolutely.
But if you can anonymously build up the skills and get back, then eventually you'll get to where you like to read.
Right.
And I like how it feeds, literacy feeds.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
One feeds the other.
All of these.
And even you said
Right.
shame, but that's part of it. Like, if my family life is terrible, I don't want to talk about leading a drug-free lifestyle, because, I don't want to talk about that because that's not my reality, But if we can get it to a place where it saying this is their choice, but this is your reality, and you get to choose what you don't have to, you get to choose. And I would say my history of working is usually the outcast person is the person that's chose sobriety, not the person that's chose the other route. So when we're figuring out how we make it okay, we make it okay. And you're right, it is glorified. It's sad. It's glorified everywhere you go. But how do we get to a place where you can say, you know what, you don't have to. And that's the same as like the root and the vine.
Right.
Like, it's okay to say I love God and live your life that way. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
But people I love when I go into a school and I see a kid make out of church and says, I love God, I'm blessed.
Right.
And I'm like, that's absolutely right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So right below that, I want you to say, I'm blessed and this is how I choose to live my life, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody that. But whenever we're doing this pathways, giving someone something as simple, even if it's just 4 squares on the floor, to say, this is my space and this is my truth and I'm gonna live in this is my reality, magnifies over and over and over, because you're not going to be afraid to go to the next location and say, these are my 4 squares and I'm going to live in my truth right here. And you continue to do that until it gets to a place where you feel so comfortable saying it that it just comes on out of your mouth and don't bother you.
Right. And, that's, kind of segues into the kind of the section I'm going to talk about, which is different. It doesn't have TSK name in it, but it's Summit Sustains. I was, talking with Adrian Banks, who helps me out a whole lot, right? And we were just speaking about these things as well. We were doing some of these things anyway. It was just really kind of spearheading to put it into, definitely like a section that we could, kind of use, to help. Summit Sustains is a nourishment network. It's a lot of tongue twisters. It's a nourishment network, right? That talks about healthy meals, food education, also community support to help families strive, right? And ensure that every child, definitely has some consistent, definitely nutritious meal and food. So that's basically what we're trying to do now. And we came up with a few things when we come to, when it talks about Summit Sustains, which, a lot of it, and I'll just tell you, one of the things that we're doing, even tomorrow, is going to distribute some food, right? And I want to say thanks to Perry Memorial Methodist Church for their food meal distribution program. It was a lady by the name of Rose Hicks. She's moved away now, but the lady, she came to me one day after we were having an event one time, and it said, this is what she does. She goes and, distributes meals to people. She had it super, detailed, this person lives here and stuff like that, and even went with us and showed us where the people lived at. And at the time, and this is not, like I said, this is no bragging or anything like it. It's not about that, but it's like she had 5 people, right? And I just, definitely, I thank Cindy Beard for, because she was one who went with her, who works with us as well. And she actually, now it's up to 50 tomorrow. So, and that's the thing. I know, the climate's changed now a lot, with things going on in America. And so, but it's always been this way. That's the thing about it. There's been a food scarcity in certain places. We just didn't really sometimes know about it. But, through, working, with Camp Elevate, and all the things that we've done, I've started to see that is a need anyway. I mean, that when you don't have to worry about a meal, right? Or you can go and get a meal, then you can kind of focus on the other things, right? I mean, but sometimes if I don't even know I don't, first of all, I might not even have the energy to go. And those things as well. So we kind of integrated it in anyway, a lot of food. I mean, I believe that, about a meal and things like that, because you just never know. And on the empty stomach, how can you learn really on the empty stomach?
Shoot your car don't run without no gas.
Exactly.
And your brain don't work.
Right, exactly. So that's what we kind of, went over. So the, kind of the approach we're trying to do, it's kind of beyond that. But I mean, definitely, teaching about budgeting, right? Teaching about meal preparation and actually, just an education about it. Like a lot of people that work here have their food handlers cards. I mean, so it's like something that, we do a lot, through life skills and different things like that, but it's definitely something we need. So that's what we, kind of Summit Sustains will do these things, right? And help, and there'll be things up underneath them, like, definitely different things up underneath them that we'll name, for, definitely specific to whatever we're doing as far as with food distribution or the Nourishment Network is what we're going to call it as far as that goes. And like I said, having these workshops and stuff as well. Just really trying to, link into that. Like I said before, I know what's going on now as far as, with America, what's going on. But like I said before, it's something, somebody said, a guest told me, sometimes on a local. So we always, we see national, right? But then we miss the fact that we got some local people here that need stuff too. You know what I mean? So if we focus on that, I think we can. I think a lot of people have stepped up. I think Raina even said she might have a QR code that we could kind of post for definitely for some food pantries.
It's a QR code and it has the someone created it and they did it for every county that was on the news. And people have shared it, but they've done updates. And so I got the updates yesterday in my email. And I'll share it so you guys can put it on your sites. And you just hold your phone to it and it'll tell you all of the local by county. You click on your county to where the food banks are. And then there's going to be one that's coming out. And I want to say it's going to come out sometime this week. That's where they're having hot meals.
Right.
Where you can go get a hot meal. Especially with like this Thanksgiving season. I know Thanksgiving is one day, but people got to eat every day. Right. So there's going to be a couple of churches, I think they've spread it out, like one weekend this one's doing it, one weekend this one. There are some that actually deliver meals.
So look on there. Like I said, that's what, I know we always, harp on following and sharing and, liking things, but it's a lot of just trying to get the information out there. Like I said before, it's hard, I can't, we don't know everyone, but if you could share it, it'd be great, share it and follow, and then we'll keep up. We also have a website as well, the summitkollective.org, that we'll have all the stuff on there as well, because that's the thing. Once we get the information out here, that's what we're here to do, definitely get the information out there, but definitely help in any way we can. Like I said, it's amazing people to work at the summit, but it's not only that, it's all community partners that we try to partner with as well, is to help as well, because it takes a community in order, it takes a bunch of people in order to do these things as well. And I think, like I said before, we have a good team here, but we also need other help as well, and that's why we always reach out for that. Like I said, we went for Mrs. Hicks. I didn't know about those things, and at the time, and that's the thing. Like when we kind of revamped, the summit and some of the things we're doing, it's like, what can't you do? Well, there's certain things. I think you can do anything, but it's definitely something within reason. We were doing these things anyway. It just took me a while to kind of realize we're doing that anyway. We doing it. Through Camp Elevate, we did it. Like every Friday, kind of like what the school does, right? But why? If we're duplicating something that somebody else is doing, why don't we steer in that direction, and then we handle what we need to handle as far as helping them as well. So like I said, a lot of those things are going on today. Like this week. Like when I think about, this week, just getting this prep, getting this all prepped up as far as, getting all these things out here, we have to have events as well to kind of help with that. So Summit Sustains, right? I said it right this time. It's definitely something we're doing. So instead of Thanksgiving, we've had like a couple spaghetti dinners before. We actually had a chili last month. We had like a chili on Season of Sharing. We had a chili, but everybody was asking about the spaghetti. Yeah. So one of the things we're going to do now, so maybe not Thanksgiving dinner, but we're going to do the spaghetti. It's called Noodles of Thanks, and it'll be November 23rd, and it'll be here. That's a Sunday. It'll be here at the office, 2 to 5. You can come in, get it, or you can take it with you. Either way, so that's one of the things we're going to be doing as well.
Can I go back to your
your
thing of thanks? I just want to say, like, I think, where your office is located is a prime location that people can actually walk in off the street.
Right.
I came and volunteered for the last event you had, and it was amazing because you guys did sweatshirts, jeans,
Right.
and like they had some shoes, socks, like hats, things like that, different things. I think that you guys do a really good job of thinking about the little things that people forget. Like you forget that it's turning cold. So it was right at the prime season. I think it was like the very first cold weekend. And I'm bragging on you guys and your staff here, but you got a lady walk in off the street with 2 pajamas on, and no shoes.
I remember that. Yeah.
And no shoes on her feet. And she was not treated any differently than anybody else that walked through the door. If you don't know about this building, that he does have like hygiene items and a shower, and like she was able to take a shower and put on clothes and socks and shoes. And I would have never known that was the same woman. She took her food. When she left, she said, "I just want to thank you for treating me like I'm a human." I think we forget about just simple, common decency to people. Like, I don't know what her reading level was. I don't know what her background was.
Right.
I don't know what her history was.
Right.
All I know is that she didn't have any shoes on, and she was hungry and cold.
That's true.
And her needs were met. And at the end of the day, when you're talking about local, homegrown, grassroots activities, that's your goal.
Right.
And what you said, like her comment to you, like it's so key. Don't take someone's dignity.
Don't take it.
You need help. Well, you can live.
And then did you see it? I mean, like I said, we've had other ones, I mean, to me, like I said before, that's what it's about when you see that, or whatever, it's just, I praise God to even be able to see that or be able to help with those things as well. Because you can't imagine being that way. But like I told you, I seen her before and then I seen her after. It didn't even look like the same person. It's like, wow,
I love that one of the things that you're talking about is like, and I know this is, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is basically what you are doing. If you do not eat, breathe, feel safe, you do not function on any other level. It's just what it is. And people come in this door and they come back. Don't come back to do harm or come back to that. They come back because they know that your heart's in the right place and you're legitimately trying to help people. And I can appreciate that. And I will say this, I live in Raleigh County. When I moved to West Virginia, it's the only county I've lived in. And we've got people living behind the office I work in tents. And every morning I see people and I worry, do you eat? Like this morning I was like, at least it's a little warmer today. But that shouldn't be my thought. Like my thought was at least it was a little warmer than it was yesterday. But it's still cold by any means. Like, did you eat? Did you eat? Because if we want to keep our community safe and educated, people that are in distress tend to have problems, tend to go the wrong route. What can we do instead of talking about it or posting somebody with a sign or somebody it looks terrible on the corner in Raleigh, in the county, in the community you live in? What can you do to change it? Because your kids are watching your reaction to it, and that's what they're going to carry on. So I love that there's a place, and you can send your kid here to volunteer as well. If your kid wants to volunteer, I know all y'all seniors need some volunteer hours. This is a place you could come volunteer and get those hours.
So you can call me and call Don, 304-894-6867. Text me, call me, leave a message. And like I said, we have forms you can sign, like I said, and different things, and definitely things like that. Everybody here is, definitely went through all the volunteers I have or people that work with the Summit, have been background checked. And so it's not something like that as well. I mean, we always kind of try to watch out for that because I don't want you to think your kids, that's the thing, don't get hurt here or anything. I have kids too, so I'm protective as well. So that's another thing that you don't have to really worry about. I mean, you can still, definitely be inquisitive about it, don't get me wrong, but this is what we're going to do here as well. I think, to end up, and then we'll talk a little bit more, but, I have, I was gonna call him a nickname, I'm gonna call him Michael Cersei is what I'm gonna call him. He was on here with Mikey at one time, both of them name was Mikey, but, but that's what he's gonna talk about, actually, what we're on today, which is, Collective Conversations. And just he'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll go on and talk a little bit more about it as well.
All right, so Collective Conversations, that is our community engagement and communications platform, a space for honest dialogue, shared learning, and collaborative problem solving. Through live discussions, roundtables, and theme sessions, such as our Espresso Chit Chat, we bring diverse voices together to exchange ideas and create action. All of our conversations being rooted in listening, understanding, and building partnerships that can last within our community with real solutions. A couple of things that I want to stress when it comes to it. Collective Conversations is good for two specific things. Your own personal education and then community engagement. Kind of as they have been saying, like, yes, you can come here and volunteer. Shout out to all of the special guests that we've had. Some of them being here to educate us, some of them being here as community leaders. On the community engagement side, it really gives you an idea of different organizations and peoples and events and things that are going on, to where if you do want to make a change, you can go ahead and take that initiative to do so. We have, you brought up, we had somebody talk about voting a few weeks ago, and they kind of talked about how it starts less at the top, but more at the bottom. Yes, we can look at the bottom as being our local politicians, but the most bottom is us, the people who live there, the people who travel there every day, the people who spend their funds there, the people who interact with the people. So it's a good way to find out things that are going along so we can get involved. And then on the educational side, as children, we are all kind of pushed towards education, whether it's higher learning, whether it's trades, whether it's just outright getting a good GPA in high school or a GED. We're all pushed towards some level of education. Whereas as adults, nobody is pushing us towards any type of level of education. Anything that we learn has to be done on our own, or we have to take that initiative to go and ask somebody to teach us, right? So Collective Conversations, with the special guests that we have the opportunity to be in rooms with individuals that we might not ever be in. A lot of individuals who are experts inside of their field, a lot of individuals who has a lot of specific knowledge to give. It's in most cases, at this day and age, you're not getting things like that for free. So I think it's a great opportunity to actually get expertise in different topics that are there to help us on a personal level and on different levels. Because the different topics such as like finances, education, insurances, and things like that. I don't know if we've had anybody specifically on maybe the college applications process and things like that, but applications or admissions counselor might be a good special guest to have on, things like that. But I am a believer that in lifelong learning. I'm a believer that if you are not actively learning or learning something on a daily basis, then you're actively dying. That is an opportunity. Collective Conversations is an opportunity to get these topics and actually help ourselves in topics that we may not be accustomed to, right? Especially on topics that some individuals may have gotten learned or taught at a younger age, such as financial literacy or things like that, that we can also pass on to other individuals.
Right.
And then it's also, there are things to learn for anybody, regardless of what field you are in or what level you are at in that field, right? Because the purpose of having that diverse panel, if you will, is so that you can have those different outlooks and those different backgrounds, to where that individual may have more knowledge on it because they got into it in a different realm or taught themselves in a different realm or something like that. So all around, it is a way for us on a personal level, on a community level, maybe even in a bigger level to just get better.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, and when you say that, it's like, through Collective Conversations, we also have another show called Expression on Chit Chat, which, was pretty much inspired by Lucy Bradley and Shamika Mitchell. And I mean, I shout out to them as well, Raina as well, my mom as well, Deborah McCrae. But what we talk, a lot of, what we, saw, in some of the numbers, a lot of our subscribers, and I think each and every one of you, but a lot of our subscribers on YouTube, the majority of them are women, which is great too. Don't get me wrong, it is. And, and then one day they were in here, and I think they all were in here that day. I mean, had such a good time, but they were still talking about some issues as well. And it's like, so why not, devote, definitely, I mean, we wouldn't, none of us would be here without our moms. I mean, don't get me wrong. So it's like, and they come in with a perspective that, can kind of help, definitely other inspiring moms, dads too, whoever, not listen and hear those things that I can use. So Express on Chit Chat came from that as well and continues to go. But, I'm just, real quick, but just with conversations, I mean, Michael Folks, Anthony Harrison, Lucy, just different people who have, so it ain't only just me getting these guests they always, suggest people and, and I talk to them and then we try to make it happen. But it's always something for me, like you talking about, it's like being like a little kid, man, just listening to this stuff. Cause I don't, some of the stuff that they bring to the table, I sometimes I know nothing about, right? I might know a little bit about them. Just like when Chad, he was a guest here too. I mean, like you said at the time, but I mean, I really didn't know. I mean, about being an author and just the different things, you know what I mean? Ashay was up here that day too. I mean, now she's on, going on, now she's in school to be an engineer. I mean, so I think it's a good thing. Well, go ahead.
It's such a valuable resource, really, and I find myself going back and rewatching because I'm all about learning from other people's successes.
Right.
But I'm also, and almost every one of our guests have shared their trials and their struggles along the way and the mistakes they made, and I can learn from my mistakes, but I'd rather learn from somebody else's mistakes that already went through it.
Right.
And that's why they're here, because they're trying to help us, all of us, do that.
And those that, want to come up, there's no real criteria other than the fact that we are, here to help the community, right? But we're not up here to meet. And sometimes, I'll tell you something, I have, a formal letter that I, I would, give you, and then you can look at it as well. But it's like, we don't want to box you in by any means by saying, what we do here. We kind of go with the flow a little bit of you. I mean, basically, so it's something to celebrate, the person that we're speaking about, but it's also, definitely to help the community as well. But it's like the questions that we're not trying to delve back in you. It's not like that. It's not a gospel. You've seen them, so it's not a gossip type thing at all or anything like that. But some people talk about some tough situations. Let's get it right. The last couple guests we've had talk about, some tough situations. I just recorded one yesterday. I mean, just me and him, right? I mean, and it got kind of deep at times. But it's okay. I mean, it's like, it was one that he wanted to go. And he had said it on there. He says that as well. And that's the great thing about this is those things. And I mean, I've learned so much from it, and I hope others have too, because that's what it takes. And it takes to get the information out. Like I told you, it's not, to me, it's never going to be about, color or anything like that. It's never meant to be like that. I mean, I understand how the world is or whatever, but just because the world's like that doesn't mean that we have to be like that, right? And we have to show them, right, that it doesn't have to be that way. And not only that, show kids as well. And I think that's why I've been blessed even to be up here. But like I said, I mean, every one of you have been up here, either hosting or being the guest of it. Now, and that's the thing. What I would want to say is like, so we're taking live here on Facebook now. Like I said, please follow and share these. But also, we're on YouTube as well. But right now, we only have the capability to load the recorded things on YouTube, the interviews on YouTube. But if we have another subscriber, over 50, then we can actually, do it live as well. Simultaneously, we're doing it on Facebook. And that's what we're trying to do anyway, just to get the information out. Because just because it's Beckley doesn't mean Beckley has a lot of amazing people as well. Raleigh County and, you know, all over. They have a lot of amazing people, but, you know, that's the thing. And I'm not saying that they want to be known, but I'm just saying, I was just looking at a YouTube video the other day. A guy, he flew to Portland. He lived in LA. He's like a foodie. And he, you know, went over there and just, you know, I don't know, just, he went in and he stayed there for a day or two. And I mean, just, you know, just, you know, they were just so in awe, not of him, but just the fact that he would take his time to come out there, you know what I mean, to Portland or wherever, which, you know, I mean, that's the same thing. Beckley's a great place to live. It really is. I mean, and I know we're talking about some things that we're trying to impact, but that's all over the place. It's not only, and that's what I said, I think a lot of our programs aren't made Beckley made or just, you know, just Beckley, straight Beckley. It's not that. It's, they can you know, like to other, you know, places as well. Kind of, you know, like I said, we had an amazing guest, Keita Lowe, on here. From Bluefield, does amazing things. Those are the things, you know what I mean, things like that, you know what I mean, going to Bluefield all over the place, basically, and doing it. But it takes volunteers, it takes people that wants to, you know, kind of donate their time to this, you know, as well. And everybody's not me, and I have to understand that. And I'm not trying for them to be, but, you know, I've seen all these things affected, you know, and you know, the drug epidemic, you know, food, you know, the reading, it affected me a lot. I mean, I still got, you know, have a little bit of problem reading as far as that. It's not a funny thing, but it's like, I don't want anybody to feel like that. I was telling the guest yesterday, I don't want anybody to feel like, you know what I mean, it wasn't my fault. I mean, it's just the words all over the place. I mean, you know what I mean, in my mind, they're constructed, that's dyslexia in a way, you know what I mean, but it really affected my daughter way more than it affected me until we got her some help. But the one thing I will say, you know what I mean, and shout out to my daughter, one thing I will say about her, she never, I could only imagine going to school and not, you know, having all these problems with, you know, dyslexia, and still she never did. I never really had to force her to go to school. She liked school, the concept of school, she liked it, but a lot of it she didn't understand. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. So now that she does, it's even better. I don't know if she knows it, but now she's getting up even earlier to go to school, which I'm, like I said, it was never really a problem, but still, now she's doing it, so I can't even see it in my own eyes. You know what I mean? I have a company that I have called Donaghy, and like I said before, I mean, and you know, it's basically off of the names of both of my children who are special needs, basically. But you know, while that's being said, they all, you know, I mean, they have different things they can bring to the table. I'm sure your kids do too, as well. But I mean, it's like, I mean, what do I do for them? You know what I mean? What you do for them is you get up every day, right? Absolutely. And you try to, you know, I mean, you try to do the best you can. But that's what I would try to do, right? Try to be a better parent, or you know, and I'm not the teacher by any means, but both of them probably smarter than me. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at that. I mean, I'm okay with that, especially my son. I mean, like I said before, just the things he can do. He's autistic. He's 5, but just the things he can do. But, you know, but then there is things I can offer him. That's social. You know, that to learn how to be more social with people and things like that. And, you know, so he can grow up. And that's other kids out here, too. I mean, we did our last guest was talking about, you know, autism as well. I mean, and some of the things that were going on. These things are, you know, and she has a support group for it. On Facebook as well. So I mean, once we don't know these things until we come up here in conversation and get these things right and know that. I mean, and everybody's here been great. I've been blessed to see a lot of different people, and we've interviewed a lot of people. And to me, it's just like I said before, you know, just like an episode. There's what's next. You know what I mean? What's next? And it's like, and hopefully there's a lot of different great things that are next. You know what I mean? In different realms, not only the same realm, there's different realms that we have.
I really would like to see if I could, you know, like when I watch it, I always learn that there's a different way to do something. Right. Just because your destination's the same, your journey is different. But one of the things that even for me, working in Raleigh County, there's a lot of agencies that do things that you hear them in passing, but you don't really know, like the Raleigh County Prevention Coalition. You have, I mean, I challenge all these people, them, like you have the Raleigh, like suicide, all these agencies that the money comes to this county. Come on out here. Because
it's not me picking. I just don't know, and it's not. It's not. I don't. I mean, everybody. You know, everybody's invited. It's not like it. It's just. It's hard sometimes. I don't know. You know what I mean? I know everybody's schedule is different, but we can tape it. So you don't even have to come at 12 because everybody can't come.
So like even DHHR, people don't truly know the extent of what they do. Right. What does West Virginia Works? What does that really mean? Like when the housing authorities around the corner, please come out, tell people how they get on the list. Right. I answer that. How you get on the list? Or even for someone my age, you never bought a home. what's the process?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How do I do that?
Right.
Like, I know you guys might be financial, but when I think of this and I watch it, I think of like, there's this, but it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
And I think that I love that you can go back and watch it, because that's something that I do. I go back
That's
and
on
watch
YouTube.
it.
That's what, because it goes away on Facebook,
Yeah.
but on YouTube,
You go back and watch
you
it.
can go back and watch them, and you should see the maturation of, because it was started like in this corner here.
Yeah.
Not my mind, and I'm not. I said that last week. Remember, my mind's not really artsy or really
Yeah.
decorated.
Hair on that
Right,
side,
we
yeah.
not to look at them, y'all curled up on the table, and stuff like that. Which, but still, I mean, the information is there, and that's because in my mind, like I told her that day, that was the most important thing to me, is getting the person in that seat
In the seat.
that can speak and talk to the community about certain things that they can help them. That was my thing, but I guess it's some other things you want to know too. You need, you know what I mean? So the dressing looks like, you know, has to look right too.
Yeah.
You know? But, I mean, so I'm getting there. I'm getting there, right?
But, you know, I think Mike made a good point too. Like, I used to pay basically for this service. I used to have a subscription for like master classes. And, you know, it was just basically what we're doing here. People that had knowledge in a field that I wanted knowledge in, you know, it's kind of free mentorship
Yeah.
and free
Yeah.
advice that you can find. And like Randa said, you can find something in everyone's message to relate to what
Yeah.
you want to accomplish.
Right.
And I learned so much. I mean, I know we're getting ready to finish, but I learned so much because it's like, you know, and everybody, like I said before, we've had everybody, every guest that's been in here has been amazing, right? Don't get me wrong. So I'm not saying, but this certain guest, right, that we just had, which is Cam Shannon, had him on, and it came on Monday, right? I mean, he's super humble. I'm not saying the other ones wasn't, but he's super humble. So I could see, even interviewing him, that it was kind of difficult because he doesn't want to. I mean, he doesn't want to talk about himself the whole time, right? So that would be more time. That's why I said, as an interviewer, you know, definitely a panel to you know, for me to have definitely certain subjects to talk about during that time. Because nobody, but I do want to sell, because it is. I need them, the little young kid, to see that whoever it may be sitting in that seat, an author sitting in that seat with a bald head, right, with glasses. I mean, really, they can do it. I'm bald head too, but I'm just saying. Mikey got there too, but I'm just saying that's the thing. You know what I mean? Just to have that, right? Hopefully she don't, but that's the thing. But that's the thing, you know what I mean? To me, that's what it's about, right? Just listening. So you know, I'd be amiss to think that, you know what I mean, really, I mean, we do want to celebrate, you know, the person that comes up here. Really, we do. How much we celebrate them, like I said before, it depends. But it's up to them. But I'm not saying this, I mean, but seriously, I'm not saying it, but it really, I mean, I thought about that. I mean, like, you know what I mean, it was one of those things. It's like, you know, he was super humble. A lot of people are, and they just, you know, but I think it's great that, you know, have a, you know, to sit in the seat and do those things as well. But I appreciate, we all appreciate, I mean, I appreciate them. You know, the summit, like I said, is not one person. Definitely, you know, it's not me. It's a group of people, right, coming together, definitely to help the community, and that's what we're here to do. It's not only the people on this side of the camera, but it's on the people on the other side as well. You watching, like I said, so share it. Like I said, anything you can contribute. It doesn't even have to be the summit. Any kind of nonprofit, look and see what they're about. Like I said, go to, you know, the summitkollective.org. Look and see what we're about. I mean, because I understand. I mean, it's one of those things, and I understand why people may not come on because of the climate that we're in. Everybody wants to hear about bad news, or, you know, we don't hear arguing and stuff like that, and it's not like that. It really isn't. We just really want to help the community, and we can't do that without support, and also without, you know, people, you know, kind of contribute to that as well. So I want you to, you know, think about it. Like I said, just, you know, please like, share, you know, and definitely subscribe on the YouTube so we can, you know, put this out live as well on there as well. So we're going to keep going. I mean, like I said, we want to keep, you know, bringing up good guests. Like I said, still have these amazing people on here as well. So I want to thank you all. And like I said, we'll do it again next week. Thanks.